Hi there guys, time for another Palace preview. We have of course got Newcastle away this week. Big game if you look at our recent form. We're still unbeaten in December, but off the back of two back-to-back draws against Watford and Brighton, two big games for like personal reasons, I say, as a Palace fan. I think Watford, because of the the rivalry they seem to think we have, mainly because Wilf has been so good against them in previous visits or previous big fixtures. That's turned into a bit of a really bit of a hard fought contest. It's turned into a challenging fixture and one that both sets of fans probably look out for. But not as much as obviously the game last week against Brighton. And I don't really want to talk much about it. I'm still, almost a week later, I'm still fuming with the way we performed in that. And I think that I'm still we think we're incredibly lucky to get a point out of it. I'm very happy we got a point out of it. And I think Zaha again showing his class, coming up clutch in a big moment. But yeah, back-to-back draws. I think that going into this one against Newcastle, who are they themselves are having a good run of form. They're not. I think they're only 3 points behind us in the table. It's important we keep getting those points on the board, keep the points ticking, and ideally get a win here to get back to winning ways. And the only reason I say that is because we're playing so well this season. If you consider we're only 4 points from a European spot, and 5 points, I believe, off of Spurs, or 3 points from a European spot, 5 points off of Spurs, who are in fourth, or Chelsea, who are in fourth. Then you kind of, when you look at it like that, you think, yeah, there's potential here with a good December, through this tricky Christmas period. Link that up with a really good January transfer window, which, there are signs there with Roy really putting his foot down, and you feel this is the last time he'll probably do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if he walked in next summer, the way things are going in that. I might do another separate video just regarding his comments in the post-match press conference to Brighton, from Brighton, the Brighton match, and his thoughts in midweek about, we need to make transfers in January. He made that very clear. Yeah, I think that if we get through this Christmas period and January with good points on the board, we're notoriously good finishers to seasons, bar that one season where we got to the FA Cup final, obviously preoccupied there. But we're usually have very good finishes last 2 or 3 months to a season. So it's setting up, if we can keep this form going, it's setting up for possibly a really exciting end to the season for Palace. I'm not going to say anything right now, but I think games against Newcastle away, it's important we get points on the board, and especially after back-to-back draws, I think a win would be massive for the fans, just to keep the morale high. That's the main thing. And obviously it's a tough place to go, a long journey up north as well. A really good away day, but a game that, if you're not quite on it, Newcastle, as we've seen in the previous month or so, and the result against City is a great example. They've got players that can harm you, and when they're all mentally on point, Steve Bruce's side are extremely tough to break down and extremely tough to outclass at times. Even if you may have a better team like City do, he's very good at man managing players, as that City result showed. He can get players up for the big games and get the results at the end of the day. So if we're looking at the team lineup, some comments from Roy in the pre-match press conference today. It's looking like Van Aanholt might be back in, which is great news. Obviously, that left-back spot, we were so vulnerable against Brighton at the left-back spot in the team. I think that Riedewald, he's not a left-back, and he's not fit enough to play at left-back, in my opinion. One-on-one defending is not his strong suit. I think he's a much better player in that deep, sort of regista sort of midfield role, where he can pick up the ball from the defence and spray it out left and right and create stuff from deep in the midfield. I don't think although he has played left back for Ajax, I don't think that's his best position in the Premier League, especially after over 2 years with the under-23s. It's very hard for him then to go into a left back role where he's going to have to do a lot of running up and down the wings, and also and get into areas up the pitch that he's not used to, where Van Aanholt is obviously a lot stronger, and also defensively one-on-one against some really tricky wingers. He's not been used to that at the level he's been playing at the last 2 seasons in the under-21. So I think that it's great that Van Aanholt looks like he'll be back. I thought he'd be out a little longer than he is. If he does slot in great news, although obviously he does lack defensively at some points, but it just goes to show here the way he gets forward, the way he contributes to attacks. I think it'll just give a boost to the fans more than anything to have our first choice left back in the side. That's massive news. It looks like the rest of the back four will be the same as it was against Brighton. Dan, there was a little injury scare, but I think it's looking like he's okay. Cahill looks to be out a slightly longer term, which could be a massive blow for us, although we have coped with him okay since he got injured, to be honest. Came in for the Watford game, but when he hasn't played this month, we've got wins against Bournemouth, we got the draw against Brighton at the end of the day, so not doing too bad without him. The problem is if we get any more injuries or suspensions, then it's looking very, very vulnerable in that centre-back spot, and players like Sam Woods, and Roy's mentioned bringing under 23 players onto the bench. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see Tyreek Mitchell, Sam Woods, or a youngster of some sort make a debut, or another valuable first team appearance against Newcastle tomorrow. It could be very possible. It's going to be quite a young and a youthful bench with a couple of experienced players thrown in there. I think the rest of the team will be exactly the same as that played against Brighton. I honestly think that Benteke will start. I think that he gets hard. As poor as he's been, and I'm not going to go, I've spoken about Benteke so many times over the last few seasons, but I thought in that one game if you look at that game in isolation, I don't think I think Ayew is slightly wasted out wide. I do think he's a lot better down the middle, and I think he's more valuable down the middle. We saw with some of his runs he made, almost scoring a second against Brighton, making us go 2-1 up, almost getting his first of the game. Very, very lovely run through the middle of the park, and then shot just went over the bar. But that's where he's best, when he's running at players down the middle, and also when we're off the ball, his press from the front line, going right across the back four, that press is really, really valuable to the team. And I think putting him out wide, we lose that press, we lose that energy that he has, because Benteke, as much as he tries, he isn't as good as Ayew at that job up front on his own, in my opinion. That being said, he did very well flicking on headers. I think he won almost every header that came his way. He just didn't have runners going in behind him. So maybe a criticism of Roy there for not tactically, drilling it into the players to make runs in behind when Benteke is challenging the ball, to anticipate a flick on, a lack of communication there. That being said, I think that Newcastle, that sort of game will suit Benteke a bit better, I think, than the Brighton one. I don't think the intensity, the energy will be as high in a game against Newcastle as it would be against Brighton. So I'd love to see Ayew and Benteke start up top. I think there could be some good link-up play there. And then have Zaha, maybe MacArthur going out wide. He has played out there before in a 4-4-2. That would be my formation I'd like to see, and Milivojevic, Kouyaté as the two centre midfielders. And obviously we're still waiting on players like Schlupp, Townsend to come back to fitness. So MacArthur out wide, or you could go 4-3-3 and play with Ayew out wide left, Benteke up top like he did against Brighton. And that'll be fine, but I do prefer Ayew up top. So if he's going to play Benteke, I'd love him to be up front with Ayew in a two. If you're looking at Newcastle, as I mentioned, Steve Bruce is fair play to him. After the first few months, I thought they were definitely my number one team, or number two team at least, to go down. I thought it was dead certain that they wouldn't survive the season, but Steve Bruce is doing everything he can to keep them up, and at the moment it's looking like they probably will stay up the way they're playing. Fantastic stuff he's got them doing, just the energy, the belief. Massive blow to them that Saint-Maximin probably won't be playing in this. He's injured, I believe, so that's massive, because I rate him really highly, and it's a player that I think a lot of Palace fans wanted, including myself. I would have loved him. We love a really tricky, skillful, pacey winger. Look at Balassi, Zaha, you look at even back when we had Ian Wright, Mark Bright, Vince Hilaire. Throughout our history, we've had these silky, smooth, quick, flary, exciting players that have got, bums off seats, and they got people really, really, up and excited and entertained. And I think Saint-Maximin would have slotted straight into that Palace team with ease. And I'm really jealous that Newcastle have him, but great that he's not playing against us tomorrow. Players like Shelvey, you've got to watch out for if he starts. Those long-range shots from the edge of the box, you've got to just assume he's going to hit the target from anywhere on the pitch. So really, when we're off the ball, keep the intensity high, try and force errors out Newcastle. Because I do think if you put them under pressure, there are a lot of errors in that side. You could say the same for us, but I do think that Newcastle has been shown them a bit more vulnerable to the counter-attack than Palace have been, in my opinion. And I think that getting at them, putting the pressure and going on the front foot side, make sure that St James's Park is silent as possible. And, you know, last year we won on a penalty it was a fairly poor game, and DeAndre Yedlin gave away a sloppy penalty on Zaha. It may be that sort of game again, I think. I don't think there's a lot to separate the two teams in this sort of fixture. I think they both play very similar styles, sit back, try and break on the counter. Who can just get that clinical moment, that last gasp effort, who can take the initiative in this remains to be seen. But I am predicting a 2-0 Palace win. I do think it will be very closely fought, but I think we'll just have a little bit too much going forward, in my opinion, than Newcastle have. And I think defensively we have enough to hold them out. So that's my prediction, guys, and that's my preview to the game. Love to know your thoughts down below. Any Newcastle fans watching, please comment your thoughts as well. I'd love to know opposition thoughts. Yeah, really enjoy posting videos on the channel at the moment, guys. And of course, any other video ideas, let me know. I'll try and get a bigger variety of content out for you guys, but at the moment, previews, vlogs, reviews, etc., all you guys are smashing it. Thank you guys so much for watching the channel. If you haven't watched my videos before and you enjoy the channel, if you haven't watched any Palace stuff content on YouTube before, then obviously subscribe below if you want to see more stuff, and like the video as well, share, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be doing a video celebrating another massive 3 points for Palace.